Hello everyone, ItzzDivinity here, and today with a new episode of my series called Fire Mage Approach To. This time around we're going to look over a Necrotic Wake 18 that I did on Twitch, so we're rewatching a Twitch VOD. You can find me on twitch.tv/ItzzDivinity, by the way. But let's head into the video. I'll be going over, what I could have done better, and points that I paid attention to in this dungeon when we're playing, a Fire Mage, right? But I'll quickly show you the talents and conducts that we're running. As you can see, we're only switching around a little bit, not a whole lot. We're taking Flame Patch, of course. And the conduct that we're using is Infernal Cascade together with Master Flame, right? That is basically what I like to use for my potency conducts. But let's get going, actually, and let's get cracking. So we already decided at the start, right? Since it's Fortified Week, we're pulling quite a lot at the beginning, and we're just instantly using Bloodlust in order to make sure that everything here is going to go safely, right? So we're waiting a little bit before DPSing because right, the tank needs to get his aggro, and if we go instantly ham, we're gonna die. So yeah, I press my combustion, right, and we're just going full cleave, like full AoE mode. So now we're out of every single charges. Then we use shifting power. As you can see, I am kind of standing too close. I took a little bit of aggro, and yeah, because of that, I almost died. Lucky us. We have Cauterize, so we didn't die, but something I did kind of make a mistake of is I was standing way too close. At the moment, if I took some aggro over, it was instantly gonna get on me, right? And because of that, I almost died. Same thing here with the DK. He instantly got slapped, probably by those jumpers, or from throwing things around from the harvester, right? Like to throw flash. And as you can see, we're just using Scorches now in order to just get those hot streaks going, right? So we're going to interrupt the Drain Fluid, because, you really want to interrupt those as well. But the most important one is the Vanguard. Whenever he's doing meat shields, you instantly want to interrupt that one, since he's going to gain a lot of HP from that. Like, as you can see right now, right? The Vanguard is using his meat shield, and he is getting quite some HP back from that. And that's something we kind of really screwed up at in the beginning. As you can see, it's taking quite a while to kill this pack, even with Bloodlust. Even it took us that long that we're actually having a second combustion. I'm just using it in order to just finish everything up here, since these packs are not that dangerous. So I'm gonna have time to just regain a little bit of combustion time again. Also, I've been seeing that my intellect buffs has been on 4 out of 5 for quite a while now. I really need to pay more attention to that when someone dies. This time around, we're quite lucky, right? Since the DK only died, so he doesn't really gain any benefits out of it. But if it might have been the Warlock or the Healer, then I should have really used it. Like, finally, now I use Arcane Intellect, right? We are waiting with picking up this Spear, since we wonder, okay, what if someone dies and we wipe, or the person that has the Spear is gonna die? Then the Spear is wasted, right? So we need to make, we're just waiting with picking up the Spear until later into the dungeon, when we're actually going to the first boss, and whenever every trash is actually dead. Since this trash pack is also really dangerous, there's 2 harvesters, so double Drain Fluid, and the Vanguard also needs to get interrupted on Meat Shield. Good thing, you can use Dragon Breath in order to interrupt every single of those casts as well, so we really need to use those. I see that I have my combustion ready. I kinda use my combustion too early. Like, there's no way that even by waiting 2 more seconds, I would have not gotten my combustion, right? Like, I really should have waited with using my combustion here, since my combustion is now over. It was a really bad one. I'm barely above the tank, even with combustion, right? And I should have just definitely used, just waited using combustion. I mean, like, I should have just waited with using combustion. So it got really low, so I just instantly slap on some health cookies for myself. I'm getting low again, and maybe I'm using a health stone. Yeah, I'm using a health pot, I mean, not a health stone. I already used that one. We got quite lucky with the harvester that he's not standing in it. And at the moment, we're just looking around to see which ads needs to get interrupted. And as you can see, they're all about to die. The harvester is... both of them are quite lucky, actually. Like, the both were not really staying in Sanguini. And I know it's Sanguine or Sanguini. I'm gonna say either way, like both probably, because Sanguini just sounds a lot of fun, right? Like, it sounds way more fun than Sanguine. So, on this Pridefall, we're gonna hold our combustion, of course, since after this we're gonna have the boss. Something to take note, we do have a Kyrian in this dungeon. Our tank is Avengers DH, which is Kyrian. So we are gonna have the option to get the orbs. So here right now I'm making sure that I'm not hitting the healer, because we don't want to hit the healer ever with the Prideful debuff, because if that happens, it's just really shit and he's not going to be able to heal and you potentially die. So we have a general rule: the moment you have it and you're standing in line for the healer, you have to move, right? The healer just stands still. That is our general rule on how we deal with Prideful. And I think that's a very good idea, especially on weeks where it's going to be tougher, right? With Necrotic or Grievous that we had recently. So as you can see right now, we just pulled the boss. This is where we're using the Spearon, the one that we didn't take earlier, right? We just blast down the first boss, first boss really fast. So I'm using Combustion. Good thing, like, I just waited a little bit, right, with my Combustion, since I didn't have every single stack left. Also, these adds are going to spawn around, how do we say, 12 seconds into the fight, right? So it's quite close at the start. So if you just hold your Combustion a little bit, it's going to be fine, since you're going to be able to cleave your Ignite over to those small adds. And that's really going to help out with killing them, right? Since they're going to leave a nasty debuff on the ground as well, so you really want to try and kill them as close as possible from them. Like that they're together, right? In order to not make sure that the entire room is going to get full with silence debuffs. Since that's the debuff, right? Like the moment you stand in it, you're silenced and you're not able to do anything. Like right now, especially, like we're kind of in a bad position. The Warlock plays a really good gateway that we can just click in order to pass over, right? And not having any issues with that debuff. So we do have Warlock that luckily did that, right? Otherwise we're kind of stuck in that corner now, since we can blink a little bit, but if you're stuck halfway, you're still not able to do that. So right now we're taking up the orbs, since he still had the Kyrian ability active, that you can use it. Otherwise we had to wait an additional 5 seconds in order to use that. So this Combustion wasn't as good, since I kind of want to go back on that. So I'm just going back on that. Oh, I thought my Combustion wasn't really good, but then again, I walked away from my Rune of Power, so that's kind of shitty. I don't know if one of them actually targeted me. If none of them targeted me, I could have just stood here. Yeah, none of them were targeting me, so I could have just stood there actually in Rune of Power, dealing more damage. So that's something on my part I should have looked at. Am I actually getting targeted? Yes or no? No, I didn't get targeted, so I just could have actually stood still there during my Combustion and actually did more damage in the end there. So right now we still have a little bit of, we have 30 seconds left of the dungeon buff, right, that we took from the orbs from the Kyrian buff. So we're just making sure that we're standing close to the adds, because it's an AoE pulls damage around you. So you need to make sure you're close to the adds or to the boss if you have that buff, because otherwise it's not going to do anything. Also, what the buff does actually is it does AoE pulsing damage and AoE healing. So overall it's just a really, really good buff, right? And here we're making just sure that we're not getting stacked with Quaking, right? That's very dangerous. Like, Quaking alone isn't really dangerous at all, but the moment you stack it up together, then it becomes nasty. You don't want to stack it up, because the moment you are stacked together, it's like 40% HP damage. Maybe we can show that later into the video, but it does do a lot of damage if you're alone. Here we're quite unlucky. As you can see, the Harvester is just stuck in it. We didn't have the grip. We didn't have a knockback at all. So we're just wasting a whole lot of time on this Harvester. We just wasted so much time. What we maybe should have done right is, maybe hold onto one knockback, one grip, just purely for those Harvesters, since they barely move, right? So that's something we probably should have done. But that's something you only know afterwards, right? And that's something you don't really always take into consideration whenever you're actually pulling a pack. And we also use the knockbacks from the Druid quite often to just keep the tank alive, right? Since those adds actually really hurt a lot. And if they keep smacking on the Ezo, alright, so there we go. That's a follow right there. So we just gotta Wait, luckily nothing really important is happening right now, so that's nice. So we just go onto the sorcerer right now. And this is also where we're going to use combustion, since we're going to be getting the buff soon afterwards here again. And whenever we do that, we're going to another pack, and not having combustion for that is fine, since those orbs are going to have a lot of damage. If you do not have combustion for this, then just hold it. Or if you don't have a Kyrian for this, then hold your combustion for the next pack, because you rather want to use combustion on the pack that's after this, since that one is way more dangerous. But since we have these orbs, we can actually just use our combustion in order to just pump out some damage, right? Like this is the one I'm talking about. So we need to make sure we interrupt the Necrotic Bolt. And as you can see, we're just standing close right now in order to cleave around with the Kyrian buff. Stand still. The Mark has a shield, so what we're doing, we're full focusing the shield in order to make it just disappear. The moment the Marauder's shield appear, make sure that you just blast it down, since the moment the shield disappears, like whenever you actually did enough damage to make the shield disappear, it's just going to do enough damage. It's just going to instantly die almost. Like, it deals a lot of damage against their cells. And now we have Prideful, and as you can see, at the start of Prideful I already have my combustion, so I'm not sure if my combustion timing was really ideal. Maybe I should have just waited with combustion from 2 packs ago, right? That I would have combustion for the pack before this. And maybe if I did that, then I would have been able to use combustion on the pack that we did before Prideful. Then we have Prideful now, and after Prideful we have combustion again. It feels like I'm holding onto my combustion for too long right now. And that's something I need to learn myself as well. What are the optimal combustion timings? Like, when is it actually good to use combustion, and when should I actually just hold it? Since now he's taking the other orb, and yeah, we're just gonna dismantle this entire pack, since we're having an orb right from the dungeon that deals a lot of damage, and we have combustion and Prideful. So this pack is just gonna disappear. Just look at the Vengeance Demon Hunter damage, 60k at the moment, like, and it keeps going up, and it's just actually insane how much damage that is, right? And that's just from having Prideful, having the orb as well, and yeah, like, this pack, right, is just gone. Like, this pack is just disappeared. So right now, I'm pretty sure we are gonna take the hammer on the left. I'm not sure. Maybe not. Yeah, indeed. So we are taking the hammer, actually. So in this dungeon, there are like a lot of weapons, right, that are laid around. And there are multiple weapons. You have a spear, you have an orb, you have a hammer, and you have a shield. The shield one is the worst of them all. We never really pick them up because they're always in shitty locations, and they barely do anything, right? So it's not really worth it to go after those shields. But we try to get every single hammer or spear or orb that is in this dungeon in order to just make our lives easier, right? As you can see, these Marauders, the moment we kill this shield, he just loses like 95% of his HP. It's insane. It's ridiculous how much damage it is. So we got really lucky here with the patrol, actually. Since, as you can see, the big guy is now on his way back. And now we can just quickly go through it without pulling anything. This is something we do really screw up a lot. We actually accidentally pull the big guy or the older patrol way too often. And yeah, I'm just really glad that it didn't happen here. So I'm using combustion on this guy, since this is usually where our tank dies, because these bone carvers do make a nasty debuff on the tank. And they just need to die fast, otherwise the tank is just dead, right? And yeah, as you can see, below 30%, we're just going over to Scorches again, just making sure there's those S die, trying to kill them at the same time. And as you can see, our tank still dies. So luckily, he didn't have a single weapon or whatsoever. If you have a pet, by the way, if you have a pet, I cannot stress enough, if you have a pet, make sure that you either dismiss that pet or you're mounted before jumping over here. Because if you're not mounted, these ads are going to run like this, right? Like as you just saw from the Fell Hunter. And they're going to pull this. And the moment that happens, yeah, it's most likely going to be a wipe because it's going to be so chaotic. The other patrol's also about to come, right? And when that just happens, it just screws up everything, right? Let's see both our pet users making sure that they are mounted before they're jumping down. And yeah, this is also where I'm going to use the hammer. On fortified weeks, these necromancers are so dangerous since they have mages, crossbowmancers. It just deals so much damage, right? So we're just making sure we're using the hammer. And I missed out on the interrupt on the mage because I was using the hammer. I should have actually just interrupted because the necromancer itself wouldn't do that much damage, but I should have just interrupted the volley. And there I could have used my Dragon Breath actually in order to interrupt the volley, which I didn't do. Now this volley again. Okay, these are all actually getting interrupts, so that is good. I am using my combustion here, since we just want to make sure everything dies as fast as possible. Well, the necromancer, right? The moment the necromancer is dead, all the other ads disappear as well. And as you just saw me doing, I just went up here instantly in order to just activate the RP that's there on the second boss. So we don't waste any time on our Rightful buff. So just by doing that, we're making sure that we can optimize the entire Rightful. And what I should do, yeah, perfect. I don't know. Yeah, right here, I'm just showing why I'm not using Master Flame, right? And normally I should use Master Flame, but I'm at the moment using Discipline of the Grove, since, as you saw, I'm almost running out of conduit energy. But normally you should use Master Flame in Mythic Plus, not Discipline of the Grove, since Master Flame just deals 11% increased fire damage. But if you have not enough conduit energy anymore, it's fine to use Discipline of the Grove. It won't be the biggest damage loss, but at the same time, Master Flame is just better, right? Like, it just deals more damage. And as you can see, we're going onto this boss right now. We are kind of wasting a little bit of Prideful, so we're 45 seconds left. So we're just going to instantly Bloodlust. And what we need to make sure of on this fight, I never really interrupt Necro Bolt, since our interrupt is too long, and the ads are spawning really fast afterwards, and it's way more important to interrupt the Frost Volley instead of the Necro Bolts. As you see, I interrupted the Mage in order to make sure that he doesn't cast it. Then we just go over in Shifting Power to just cleave a little bit, since we had nothing anymore. And I should have actually used the Phoenix Flames here, since as you can see, I'm having a 1.3k ticking Ignite. And at the end, I used the Phoenix Flame actually way too late. I should have just used it earlier, because if I did it, it would have started to cleave over to these ads. This is something I myself really need to still learn a lot better, that after your combustion, you still have a really hard-hitting Ignite dot that you can still use in order to spread around. And it's something you guys should also do, that even after combustion ended, still use your Phoenix Flames in order to just spread everything around. We got very lucky here, actually. We got really lucky that those ads all spawn together, right? So we didn't have to worry about picking them up or looking where they are. So as you can see, we just interrupted the Mage Volley again. And this is legit the only thing that I do interrupt on this fight, right? Since we have a long cooldown on our interrupt. So maybe you want to take the potency for this dungeon. The finesse one that reduces the amount of cooldown on counterspell whenever successfully interrupting. And yeah, as you can see, this boss wasn't really a hard struggle, because we wiped too many times on this in the past, so we know what to do right now on this boss. But yeah, what you always want to make sure of is always just focus these ads when they spawn right on that boss, and they just need to die ASAP, because if there's an ad alive when he's doing the soaking in, that he's going to get a buff. If there's one ad alive, you're just going to wipe. And you just need to make sure that you're just killing those ads before that happens. So we're going back, right? Since we're not having enough percentage right now. And we're going to kill more trash. Because you need to have around 70%-ish in order to make sure that you're going to have Prideful before the third boss. And that you're done with the trash as well. And now I'm only picking up the spear, because what if we did wipe on that boss, we would have lost the spear as well. And we really want to use this spear on a pack that we're gonna kill in the Necropolis above. I think it's called Necropolis, I'm not sure. But anyway, in the boss room for the third boss, that is where we really want to use this spear in order to just do 2 packs together and just melt them. And we're also going to use a orb for that as well. And by doing that, we're just saving a lot of time, right? Like we find the third room, like the third boss room, a room that just takes way too long. And we kind of want to use weapons in there in order to just speed it up. Since it's just a room where you easily can take 10 to 12 minutes, right? So you might be right, okay, but you have 70%. Yes, we do have 17%, that's correct. 70 minutes left, I mean. That is correct, but the thing is, those ads upstairs barely give any percentage, and they are really tanky, so it just takes so long to clear that entire room out. So we use combustion here, right? Since I was like, yeah, we're flying up here anyway, so I do have time to combust since we're gonna have downtime now anyway, and because of that, we're just resetting a little bit of our cooldown on combustion. So just flying right now. And we're just making sure that everyone is getting here before we do anything, right? We don't want to accidentally pull anything. So we're actually getting quite lucky. So the petrol is actually heading towards the left pack, and that's ideal for us because what we want to do is use the javelin on the corpse collector on one of them because gore splatter needs to be interrupted, and those are just very dangerous in spells that you need to interrupt. And since we have 2 ranged, it's very dangerous. We need to make sure that we align this so that other people also get hit while they're staying in this. We're also using an orb, and just look at the damage from the Vengeance Demon Hunter right now. I'm just going back a little bit because I forgot to mention at the second boss there is another big guy that fell over right near the entrance. Behind there is an orb that you can also pick up, and that deals shit ton of damage. And since we used a spear and the orb together, the Vengeance Demon Hunter is just blasting. So look at this right now. So I'm positioning myself for the corpse collector to spear it. And as you can see, he already used the orb. And just look at that damage. Look at him go. 100k DPS. It's BFA numbers all over again. And yeah, this pack just absolutely got destroyed. And that's the reason why we really wanted to use the spear and the orb together here. Because these packs take so long to kill alone. And yeah, we really just want to make sure that everything is dead as fast as possible. Since this pack this is risky. We did do it before on the 17 where we wiped. And now we were just trying it again on an 18. And we were like, okay. Because we feel like if we just played it better, it would have gone correctly. And as you can see, it did go correctly. So quite happy about that. So right now I'm using Scorches into Flame Strikes. I think it would have been better if I just didn't use Flame Strikes here the moment they're moving. I think it's just better for me that I just use Pyroblasts. Since they're kiting way... Yeah, it's getting kited way too much, right? So those flame patches on the ground don't do anything. And it's probably just better to use Pyroblast in that time instead. So as you can see right now, we're just checking his damage. Discharged Anima, and that's the weapon that you could pick up from the second boss, right? And it's like... it's so much damage, it's ridiculous. After that, we usually pull the pack on the right. Because, yeah, we don't really have a lot of cooldowns, and this is quite an easy pack, since the Flash Crafter always throws a cleaver as well. Try to always make sure that you hit the Loyal Creation with it, since the Loyal Creation does take damage from it. And because of that, you should also try and focus the Flash Crafter, since the Flash Crafter will passively deal damage to your Loyal Creature creation as well, as long as you just keep hitting those cleavers, right? As you can see, we're just full focusing on the Crafter, but the Loyal Creation is almost dead as well, since those cleavers deal like 20% HP as well. And yeah, it just really helps out. So you always want to make sure that you try and at least hit that in order to make it go down as fast as possible. So now we're going to get Prideful. This is our second last Prideful. And we're using this one, yeah, just for a pack ride. We're not going to do any crazy double pulls with the Prideful, since there, yeah, again, a lot of ads that needs to be interrupted in the next 2 pets that are coming ahead. And with the fact that we're running 2 range and a Druid Healer, we don't have a lot of interrupts, right? So we really need to be careful about what we pull, what we double pull, since we don't have the most interrupts available to us. But yeah, we're holding our combustion right. Again, we're moving out of the way for the healer, since we have the general rule, right, that we're moving away from the healer so he can just freely stand still to heal us. So pretty sure we're doing the left pack. Yes, we are. Since that one has also a corpse collector, which is Glor Splatter. And basically my job, what we already decided, is my job is just to interrupt those Glor Splatters, right? That is my job. So I'm already focusing on the corpse collector. And as you can see, someone just stole my interrupt. And for some reason, I'm going back. So he's gonna do Gore Splatter soon. Someone took my interrupt. For some reason, I'm just like, yo, I'm also gonna interrupt. I'm gonna interrupt nothing. I don't know why I interrupted here. This is something I noticed myself doing a lot more. That I just waste my interrupt. And it's definitely something I should really learn to do. Like, to do better. So this Fleshcrafter, right, is throwing the cleaver. So just make sure, even though when it's a chaotic pack, make sure that this keeps hitting at least something. In order to, yeah, make sure that it does damage, right? Also, what I noticed, I'm not really utilizing Dragon Breath a lot in this pack. But I definitely could have done, since a couple of casts did went through. And using Dragon Breath would have just interrupted them and just helped out the entire group. So that's definitely something as well that I should have done. So we're going back to the last, well, not, you might think this is the last pack, but no, it's not, because there's another pack, and after that another one, and those that really take long. So we had like 60 minutes, right, ish, when we went up, and at the moment we're already at 11 minutes left almost, like 11:40. And as you can see, this rune just takes really long, since it has just adds that has so much HP. And what I should just do right now, since he's kiting a lot, I should just use Pyroblast instead. So someone else took the Gore Splatter again. They have no trust. I wasted a hot streak there by using it on a Flame Strike. And right now I'm just gonna fully single target down the Corpse Collector. Good thing they're getting kited back somewhat, so I can cleave around with my Combustion. With my Ignite because of Phoenix Flames. And good thing they're kind of standing still, so it didn't really waste a whole lot of Flame Strikes. But the moment he is kiting a lot, I should really just start using Pyroblast more instead of just Flame Striking. Since Flame Strike does give a slow, but it's not the best slow. And since we have a DK, his slows are just way better, right? So I should not think about, okay, I need to use Flame Strike in order to slow them. No. Only do that really whenever you have not a single person in your group that can really slow. Since it's only 20%, so it's not a whole lot. And yeah, this is just something that is just something I need to learn as well, right? So right now, we're going to get those two guys. They both throw cleavers as well. So try always to hit those adds together with those throw cleavers. As you can see, instant throw cleavers. And they just need to make sure that they're standing behind one of each. And you need to make sure that if you get focused, you're correct. So the DK actually had aggro, so he got instantly clapped. The Morbid Fixation, be really careful about this one, since this Fixation is not a melee ability. Hell no, no. It's something that still hits from 15 yards away. And as you can see, the Druid tried to block. I just quickly want to go back actually here, because this is something. And as you can see, the Warlock has the cleaver from this guy, right? But I kited it kind of awkward, that it's really far apart from each other. So unless someone is in the middle, it's going to be really difficult of reaching it together as well, right? Like making sure that both the throw cleavers are actually able to hit. And this is really, like this that just happened, could have prevented if I just legit kited it better. If I just made sure that the kite was actually closer to the other assistant the moment it was done, right? And because of that, the Warlock is not going to make it, and the Druids tried to block it, but because that sadly it didn't work, like it didn't happen. And as you can see, I just basically killed the Warlock because I just kited it really, yeah, too far away, right? So now the DK had the fixation, and yeah, he kind of forgot, so he got hit. So what I tried to do here is, we're kind of inting on this part, right? Like, as you can notice already, we already have two deaths, and I wasted Ice Block. So what I tried to do, right, So I can see, so the throw cleaver is going on the warlock again, and there's nowhere in between. And the moment I see him walking towards me, I'm like, oh shit. Maybe I should actually stand in front of him and ice block it. But I was too late. And now I just wasted an ice block. Luckily, the warlock didn't die this time. He used the defensive, so he survived. But next time in the future, what I should just do is just stand in front of him and then just ice block. That way, we're never in danger of actually dying. And here, the tank is just standing in the way. We're pretty unlucky right here. Like, he's standing in the sanguine. This is something that we should have anticipated happening. That whenever one of them dies, that there is going to be sanguine on the ground. So we're just wasting a lot of time by, yeah, him healing quite a lot of HP again because of sanguine. And yeah, like, as you can see, we kind of really into this key, like this part of the dungeon. Like, we had a lot of deaths here, a lot of time wasted as well. We could have played this a lot better. I could have played this a lot better since I just guided it way too far. I killed a person because of that, and I wasted my ice block as well that I could have used in order to actually make sure that he didn't got hit, right? So right here, I kind of made a wrong opener on my combustion. Just quickly going back. So I'm going to combust here, right? But I pressed combustion too late. Like, I pressed it after the fireball was gone. So I didn't instantly get my hot streak. I only got an heating up streak proc. So this combustion isn't ideal. And now I'm using Scorch. What I should have done, instead of using the Scorch, I should have just instantly used the Shifting Power. Since Scorch isn't the same strength compared to Shifting Power. Shifting Power deals a lot of damage in combustion. So it's definitely worth it to do. The reason... what I should do here as well, what I'm actually going to do later, is actually use Scorch into making sure, yeah, into the Pyroblast on the Core Grinder. And that is something I should do more, since the Core Grind just has way more HP, so it's way better to just focus him. But what I should just do is just do Scorch on a target that's below 30%, and then use the Pyroblast on the target that is very healthy. So I'm thinking of maybe getting like a mouse over macro for Scorch, so I can stay on the correct target while using Scorch on a different target, and without needing to switch. And then I can just pump out those Pyroblast into the target that I want to die faster. And by doing that, I'm wasting less time, since I don't have to tap target between them. And yeah, that's something that might be really, really helpful. So now we're waiting again for the last pack. And yeah, so we're already like almost 10 minutes in this room alone. And yeah, it feels just really shit. So we are going to use combustion here. So we just got to wait for our charges before combustion. No, we do not. So I'm just way too greedy. Like, these 5 seconds that I would have waited additionally for my final charge would have not mattered at all. So I should have just legit waited for that charge to happen. And yeah, I just really wasted a lot, damage that I could have potentially got during that combustion. So now everything's below 30%, so I need to use Scorch. I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, I want to see what I'm doing here, actually. So I'm using Fireball into doing nothing. Yeah. What was I doing here? Like, I noticed that I sometimes have these moments, and I am, to this day, I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing and what what I'm trying to do. Like, I had the hot streak. They were below 30%. I could have just done something instead of just looking away and just walking a little bit. So yeah, that's, I don't know. That's bad. So we're at the Prideful again, and here again I'm standing still quite a lot again. Like, I didn't instantly target the Prideful. I don't know why I'm doing this. But yeah, we're gonna hold our combustion right for the boss. What we're also gonna do, we are gonna save Bloodlust for the final boss, since if you do this boss correctly, you're barely gonna have any downtime on the boss itself if you don't kill the quick. Like, I'm gonna show you later what we do. So we're just gonna hold our combustion, and he's below 30%. I could have actually used a single Phoenix Flames in here, since I noticed that my Phoenix Flames are on cooldown quite a lot. This is really something I really need to use more, even on single target. Just use a Phoenix Flames the moment it's actually on cooldown, right? Like, I'm holding it onto cooldown for way too long. Like, it's still on 3 stacks, and I'm still not using it. So we're making sure that we're perfectly aligned. There we go. So the moment we do get a hook, it's fine. So we need to move out. Already targeting the surgeon, having a hot streak. And I should have just used... Oh, no, we're not using Bloodlust. My bad. I always want to say I should have used Bloodlust here. But no, we're not. Since as you can see, since we're Prideful, we're really blasting down this boss hard. Like, we're really blasting it down hard. And we just make sure that we don't get interrupted by the quaking, right? That's also very important. And as you can see, it almost 30%. The hook is going to happen in 3 seconds. So I'm already preparing myself for the hook that's about to happen. And yeah, I didn't get it, but Warlock got it. So he's going to hook. And the moment, basically almost 5 seconds only wasted. The moment he comes down again, like he jumps up, I mean, he's getting a it's creating a second creation. So you really want to make sure, especially on tyrannical weeks, make sure that this creation is dead whenever the second one is spawning, since it's going to be really rough on the tank. I got really greedy here. I actually got fire locked. What I should really do is really start making a keybind for my frostbolt. So even when I get interrupted by quaking, I still have something to press, right? I can use frostbolt or just something, right? Or arcane explosion if I have nothing else, since it is still something that just does damage. Is better than doing nothing. So I'm using instantly combustion here, and as you can see, I was really confused myself since I combusted with not having 3 stacks of Phoenix Flames, and because of that, I just stood still for 2 seconds almost during my combustion. So I have this beautiful Wikar in the middle that tells me how many stacks I have, but I still didn't see how many stacks I had. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's something I should really still really practice. So right now we're just just chilling, right? We're just chilling, we're just vibing, we're just not doing a whole lot. Just making sure that we never get hit by those ice storms that are falling from the skies, since they hurt a lot. You always make sure that you're also always spread on this fight, since those frozen binds, as you can see, the moment someone is in it and it gets a spell, they get that debuff. So you cannot just stack. And what I did here, right? I blocked the Dark Exile. And this is something that I did get asked instantly afterwards as well. Like, how did you know, like, when to block? Like, how did you not get sent down? So what you really can do is, I'm going back. The way how Dark Exile works is where he is going to look at during the cast is the person that it's going to get. And since we're already really spread out, it's going to be really easy for us to see whenever it's actually going on us or someone else. So we're just going in. Just waiting. We can see Dark Exile in 5 seconds. So the moment we see, okay, Dark Exile is about to happen, it's looking towards me, it's casting. I instantly ice block because I already have my combustion coming up. So just me getting sent down is just a pure waste of time, right? Since I have to hold my combustion anyway for the boss, so I can't use it either on the air, and it's just a lot of wasted time. So by blocking this Dark Exile, I'm not getting sent down. And yeah, that just saves a lot of time. And you need to make sure that you're ice blocked until the final cast is over. And you know you screwed up the moment the green orb still flies towards you and then you block. That is too late already. That means that you already have the debuff and you are going to get sent down regardless, right? I myself really haven't tested out if you can use Alter Time, but I'm pretty sure you can't unless you're that close, since Alter Time still has a limit on how far you can go before going back again, right? So I doubt that's a possibility to do. But yeah, ice blocking works. The moment he looks at you and he casts Dark Exile, press that ice block, especially if you almost have combustion up. Just press it, make sure you don't get sent down, and yeah, you're going to be able to just DPS a lot more on the boss. Like right now, we're just waiting out on this Comet Storm, and after Comet Storm is done, we're going into combustion mode. So we're precasting Fireball into combustion, into potions, and also in the trinkets, right? So yeah, we're just doing the normal single target, and we just blast, right? And since we didn't get stunned down, we are just actually just having so much more damage. I did forget to press my Soul Igniter here, and I got lucky that still got hit. But what I should really do is use press Soul Igniter again, just the moment combustion is about to end, to just get that increased damage. So this time around, I do get Dark Exile. We are like, yo, just die. We have enough battle rests. So what I just try to do here is look, just basically look, okay, where can I die? Just get hit and hit again. And we just get sent upstairs. We're going to get instantly battle rest after the Common Storm is over. And just by doing that, we just saved a little bit of time. I should have actually used Arcane Intellect here. Also, because yeah, it's still percent intellect, it's spell power, it's increased damage. I should have just used it, because maybe, yeah, it would have mattered later, right? Like, you don't know. So right now we're just scorching. Since the boss is almost dead and my combustion is also almost up, I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna combust. Yeah, I thought so already. Like, I'm just combusting, even though it's a pretty bad one. But yeah, that is how we did our Necrotic Wake 18 in time. So something I really... And we got a 19 other side. Spoiler alert. You're not gonna see that. Like, that one went... yeah. No. That one went terribly wrong. So that one is not really gonna happen. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, that was our approach to Necrotic Wake. I myself learned actually quite a lot from looking back at my own vault, since I noticed that I'm using Flame Strike too much when we're kiting, and since we're using Flame Strike too much on the ground, Flame Patch is getting wasted, it's getting kited out of it, right? So Flame Patch is wasted. We are just missing a lot of, potential damage that I could have done potentially just with using Pyroblast into Phoenix Flames and spread everything around, right? That's something that probably would have been better, especially the moment he's kiting a lot. So that's something I should really keep in mind. And I would have not noticed if I didn't rewatch my own VOD, right? Like, doing this, just rewatching my own gameplay is really helping me out in my own growth, right? Like, I see whenever I'm making a mistake and oh shit, I should not do this the next time. And just by doing that, I get better, right? The next time I know I might still make the mistake, but I might not, right? Since I know from the time that I watch it back, okay, because I watched it back, right? It's got to be safe. I know the mistake that I made. I should not do, right? But yeah, major things that I kind of screwed up about, right, was the flame strikes. Here and there, also some combustions that I could have definitely improved on. Interrupts as well. I really need to work on my interrupts. They are still really bad. Like, I can interrupt way more than what I'm actually doing. Arcane Intellect buff is also something I really should do more. The moment just someone dies, just press Arcane Intellect. I have this beautiful weak card that tells me whenever someone isn't having an Arcane Intellect buff, and I should just definitely just press that button to just get rid of that thing, right? Just to have everyone there buff it. But yeah, those are really the major things that I do. Need to practice. Same with Dragon Breath. I need to use Dragon Breath more to interrupt packs. In order to just, if my interrupt's on cooldown, I can still interrupt it using Dragon Breath. Maybe it's not a full interrupt, it's a Disorient, right? So they are going to cast it again, but maybe someone else is going to have their interrupt ready for that, right? And by doing that, it could potentially save the group, especially in Fortified Week. But yeah, I really want to thank you guys a lot for watching. If you did enjoy it or learned something out of it, then please leave a like and subscribe. I'm also live streaming on Twitch. Most of my, like I said, right, this is a Twitch fault that I'm looking back. So I'm live streaming on twitch.tv/ItzzDivinity. Just feel free to come and hang out and just chat with us, right? I find it a lot of fun. Also, we finally made a Discord. People were asking about it on Twitch, that potentially we can have a Discord as well. Just for whenever I'm offline, right, and they have questions that they can still ask, or just someone else is around that also know how mages work, if they can answer that question. So that's definitely something as well that is up right now. I'm going to be leaving that down in the description, so you can just click on it and feel free to join. There are a few rules, but you can see that the moment you join Discord. But yeah, I really want to thank you guys all for watching, and have a good day. Bye bye.